Growing up in South Georgia, I was always surrounded by an abundance of wild clay. At the playground, in my garden, and constantly beneath my feet. I used to dig it up, make pinch pots, and try to harden them in the fire pit, playing pretend that I was in a world from thousands of years ago. It wasn't until I grew older and realized my love of art that I rediscovered my childhood wonder of wild clay. As a university student majoring in fine art, I began to focus my work around wild clay and other natural materials. These earth materials take time and effort to gather, refine, test, and use. I spent a lot of time with these materials, and they began to earn a special significance. They held heavier emotional weight than something manufactured, processed, or sold. They are often also more sustainable, being thoughtfully sourced from the earth in only necessary amounts. As I was researching these wild materials in school, I got the opportunity to work on a collaborative research project with the art and biology departments at my university. This project was funded by the Georgia Sea Grant and Henry David Thoreau Foundation. Here in Savannah, we are surrounded by marine waterways. These waters can sometimes get polluted in a process called eutrophication, where excess nutrients from agricultural fertilizers run into our streams and oceans. This could cause an excess of algal growth in the water, which can be detrimental to local fish and other wildlife. This algae needs to be collected and removed, but because of its high salt content, it cannot be composted or used as animal feed, and it is almost always discarded. Researchers at my university discovered it had a clay or mud-like consistency, and they brought it over to the fine arts department to see if it could be repurposed into a ceramic. Because of my affinity for natural materials, I jumped on the opportunity to participate in this project. In order to transform this algae waste into a ceramic, it needs to be heated to about 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. At this temperature, all of the organic material is burned away, and only inorganic ashes remain. What's unique about this algae is its high ash content of around 70%. These leftover elements and minerals are from silica-rich diatoms, ocean floor sediments, iron, calcium, and a plethora of other materials which can all be used to make ceramics. Once mixed with other wild clay to give it more structure, this bioclay mixture can be fired. Firing this clay transforms it into an insoluble ceramic, which can potentially be submerged underwater to serve as a sustainable artificial reef for marine organisms like oysters, barnacles, mussels, and more. Many of these important organisms face habitat loss or environmental damage, and reefs made with this material provide an opportunity to support them. This is both sustainable and circular, removing a waste material from our waters, transforming it into artwork, and then resubmerging it back into our waters and letting it heal our oceans. I began to make a series of sculptures with this bioclay mixture and submerged them off a dock in the Gulf of Mexico. Given enough time, they began to grow an entirely new ecosystem. I wanted to expand this project to a wider audience. Art has a way of connecting us all, being one of the truest forms of human expression and bridging across communities. I created a series of clay fish and brought them around Savannah for people to sculpt on. They carved designs and sculpted decorations in the soft, smooth clay. They created a textured surface for organisms to grow on. I took them to an aquarium where teachers and school children had the opportunity to work on them. I took them to a park where toddlers and their parents were able to work on them. I took them to a nursing home where staff and residents delighted in sculpting on them. When I was done, I had over 40 fish sculpted on by over 100 people. Each of these pieces became as unique as the person who helped create them. I also created coral-inspired bases and spherical forms to create totem pole-like structures to hold these fish. I was able to finalize my artistic vision by taking these out to the shore and seeing them in their completed form. Out at the beach, the waves and sun greeted them for the first time. It was a moment to relish in their creation and reflect upon the beauty of what so many different hands had helped form. When their time in the sun and sand was over, I brought them back to a dock in the Gulf of Mexico and suspended them underwater where they will remain indefinitely. At this very moment, they continue to grow oysters, barnacles, mussels, tunicates, bryozoan, and other marine organisms. They host a small ecosystem on their surface, providing a refuge for creatures whose natural habitat had been encroached upon by others. They radiate with the lives of these important, underappreciated, and uniquely beautiful creatures. There is something beautiful and ephemeral about borrowing a material from the earth and transforming it into art, something that is so undeniably human, and then turning around and yielding ownership back to the earth for it to be retaken and transformed. In this way, our community project became their communal home.